examples such as these. If bombardment killed or maimed everyone on this beach, it would be an outrageous act. Yet motor vehicles cause worse carnage every year. In 50% of road accidents causing death or serious injury, authorities agree that alcohol is a major cause. As a consequence, concern over drinking driving has resulted in laws which make it an offence to drive a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level above a specified percentage. In some countries, this legal limit is a blood alcohol level of 0.05%, the effect of 5 small glasses of beer drunk in 1 hour. Other countries have set a legal limit of 0.08%, this much beer in an hour. Why this lack of uniformity? Mainly it's because authorities were unable to base their legislation on enlightening experimental data. There were no conclusive answers to the vital question, what is the danger level? Racing circuit, we are to witness a scientifically planned experiment which was to provide many of the answers. This study, unlike most earlier ones, was designed to investigate how various levels of intoxication affected the subject's ability to handle test problems which closely resembled everyday driving situations. The Warwick Farm circuit was selected because its creek corner closely resembled a normal road corner that can be taken at a maximum speed of about 45 miles per hour. A good straight section of road was also available. The project was directed by Professor S.H. Labibond of the School of Applied Psychology at the University of New South Wales. Peter Werrett and Doug Chivas, high-performance driving instructors, served as consultants and assessors. The subjects in the study were a group of 26 ordinary drivers and 16 racing and rally drivers. The competition drivers included Robert Muir, a top sports car driver in New South Wales, Brian Foley, for 10 years one of Australia's top sedan car drivers, and Kevin Bartlett, Australian champion racing driver and winner of the International Grand Prix at Macau. Drivers such as these, who possess judgment and car handling ability far above that of the ordinary motorist, were included because the organizers wished to observe the effects of alcohol on a wide range of driving ability. After receiving instructions on the nature of the course, each driver was asked to carry out practice runs, driving at the fastest speed consistent with smooth, accurate performance. These runs enabled drivers to familiarize themselves with the course and provided the opportunity for an assessment of their normal driving ability. Next, each driver was interviewed about his drinking habits. Each driver was then given a number of psychological tests, an attempt to predict the changes in driving behavior which would be caused by alcohol. These preliminaries completed, drivers were given accurately measured doses of pure alcohol. Breathalyzer readings were used to check that specified blood alcohol levels had been reached.
Now I want you to lean forward as far as the tube will come out. I want you to take a deep breath and exhale fully into the mouthpiece in one breath only. And start blowing.
The pure alcohol had been masked by fruit juice so that no driver knew the amount of alcohol he had consumed. and attempt to ensure that his driving behavior would not be influenced by his beliefs about alcohol's effects. Each driver was tested at 4 blood alcohol levels: 0, 0.05, 0.08, and 0.10%. One level being tested on each of 4 consecutive days. The order in which different levels were tested varied from driver to driver. The design of the safety helmets ensured that while under test, drivers could not be recognized by the assessors. Instead, they were identified by a code based on the day and time of the run. The first test required the driver to carry out a fast evasive maneuver in response to a traffic light when approaching it at a set speed. Extracts from the film record clearly show the deterioration in performance which occurred as blood alcohol level rose. At every point during these exacting tests, careful scores were kept by the assessors. Next came the test of braking reaction time when traveling at 40 miles per hour. A device activated by remote control gave a signal for the brakes to be applied and at the same time fired some yellow powder onto the road. When the driver applied the brakes, a second charge of powder was fired, marking the road surface again to enable measurement of the distance traveled during reaction time. This test revealed a clear alcohol effect. At the highest blood alcohol level, the braking reaction distance of every driver had increased by 6 to 7 feet. The main section of the course began 200 yards before Creek Corner. 50 yards after starting, the driver was required to run his passenger side front wheel over white tiles arranged in a zigzag fashion. Tiles missed were noted on his record. Accelerometers had been fitted to the test cars to provide an ink record of gravitational forces created in cornering and braking. The driver then negotiated Creek Corner while keeping his left front wheel on a white line. A radio-controlled camera attached to each car recorded the tracking performances at the varying blood alcohol levels. Leaving Creek Corner, the driver was called upon to enter a slalom and zigzag through a pattern of witches' hats. Next, it was necessary to swing into the outline of a garage and stop. Here is the same test, taken at a higher blood alcohol level. The driver then had to negotiate a winding lane of witches' hats and finally stop 6 inches from the marker. Performance, evaluated by the number of hats knocked over, clearly deteriorated at the higher blood alcohol levels. On the return journey, after swerving through the slalom again, the driver took his vehicle around Creek Corner on the inside lane. Accelerometer readings showed that the competition drivers were not greatly affected as they left Creek Corner, although one competition driver, at a 0.08% level, did lose control. The tail wag of non-competition drivers, however, grew steadily worse as blood alcohol level rose, and they came close to losing control. The final test required the driver to accelerate up Hume Straight and stop his car within 6 inches of the finishing markers. Again, extracts from the film record clearly show the deterioration in judgment that occurred as blood alcohol level rose. Data from the assessor's ratings, objective measures of performance, and background characteristics of each driver were fed into the computer at the University of New South Wales. Computer analysis revealed that the driving behavior of the subjects could be adequately described by 2 main factors: a speed factor and the general performance factor. Scores were obtained on these factors for every individual at each blood alcohol level. The general performance graph, as well as showing the higher overall driving skill of the competition drivers, demonstrates the marked deterioration that occurred in the ordinary driver at the 0.05% level, and the continued deterioration in both groups with an increasing blood alcohol level. There is no evidence that a long history of drinking gave any immunity to deterioration. Professor Lovibond, who planned the study, comments on the results.
In general, our results are consistent with the findings of laboratory studies that any measurable quantity of alcohol in the blood impairs, to some degree, the skills important in driving. It should be emphasized, however, that the impairment at low blood alcohol levels is subtle and is not obvious to the driver himself or to an untrained observer. Perhaps our most unexpected finding was the degree of impairment observed at the 0.05% blood alcohol level, a level legally permitted in most countries of the world. The drop in performance at this level is generally greater in the less skilled non-competition drivers. On the other hand, the racing and rally drivers tested at the 0.05% level performed little better than a sober, ordinary driver. Our results suggest that an even more dramatic effect of alcohol may be a reduction in the driver's ability to deal with emergency situations. One of our most experienced racing drivers, when his blood alcohol level was 0.08%, lost control on Creek Corner when he was travelling at only 45 miles an hour. He was still out of control when he hit the braking marker 100 yards further on. He said later he knew the efforts he was making to get the car back under control were inappropriate, but he felt unable to do anything about it. This effect of alcohol has not previously been demonstrated, but it makes a good deal of sense. In any skilled performance, such as driving, the experienced operator develops a set of habits which enable him to cope almost automatically with routine aspects of the task. Evidence even suggests that the operator can suffer some loss of nervous system efficiency and still perform reasonably adequately, as long as the task requirements stay within these well-practiced normal limits. This means that the experienced driver, whose brain is reduced in efficiency by alcohol, may manage, despite impaired performance, to cope with routine driving situations. In an emergency, however, the results can be tragic.